Everybody, welcome to another episode of Megan2Mars. And today we're doing 5 things you thought were from the space industry that weren't. And together with me again is Amy. Hey Amy, welcome back.
Thanks.
And you excited about today's episode?
Oh yes, because it's always interesting to see when people start talking about things they think were invented by the space program, but actually are not.
Yeah, I mean, doing the research for this episode, some of the things I thought were from the space industry, I realized were just used in the space industry, which is really kind of cool.
Yeah, it really is.
So, a big one that everyone knows, diapers. Everyone knows that astronauts wear diapers when they do launch and re-entry. But diapers aren't originated by the space industry, are they?
No. They're actually, they existed before that, but NASA helped improve the diapers and also helped to create adult-sized diapers.
Right. Now, the component that is the absorbent component in diapers was actually developed by the U.S. Department of Agriculture, not NASA, not the Department of Defense, Agriculture.
It's called sodium polyacrylate, and this chemical is really cool because it can actually absorb 300 times its weight in water. So those astronaut diapers, the adult diapers that you use, they're called MAGs, I believe, maximum absorbency garments.
Yes, they are.
And they can actually hold up to 2 liters of water.
Which is good because one of the first things you do when you get into space is you start losing all the water in your system because of the fluid shift that happens in your body. You don't have gravity pulling your blood down, so your brain thinks there's too much blood in your body and starts shedding the water.
Yeah.
It's a really fascinating concept, but your first couple days in space, you lose a lot of water, which means that right before you come down, you need to drink a lot of water. You're going to be severely dehydrated on the ground.
And funny story, actually. The first astronaut to go into space was Alan Shepard. Since his flight was only supposed to be about 15 minutes, they didn't think about the need for any sort of urine collection. So he was waiting in his capsule for a very long time, laying on his back, waiting for launch. And he's like, yeah, guys, I need to go to the bathroom. And they wouldn't let him out because letting him out would mean scrubbing a launch for the day. So what they did is they made him pee in his suit.
It's watertight. It's airtight. It's a bear to clean.
So after that incident, they decided that, yeah, we really do need something for our astronauts.
Yeah, and I think they switched to the diapers, the maximum absorbency garment, after women joined the space program because the urine capture devices for women were not the same as the ones for men. Surprise, surprise. Let's move on to our next item on our list. We have microwave ovens. Now, why do people think microwave ovens are related to space?
Probably because we use microwave technology for a lot of things.
I think so.
Spacecraft and imaging.
But that comes more from radar development and things, which is a funny story. The microwave oven was developed on accident by someone who worked in radar.
Yeah.
He accidentally cooked something.
It was a granola bar, a peanut granola bar that was in his pocket, and he went to check, and he was like, "Wait a minute, why is this melted?" And he realized that it was caused by the experiment that he was running.
Yeah, and then somebody didn't believe him, so he just showed him how to cook an egg. Well, this is when people learned that eggs in microwaves go.
Oof, yeah, you don't want to cook an egg in a microwave.
Well, you can. You just have to cook a scrambled egg.
Yeah.
With water. And you have to stir it up. And don't put it on for more than 15 to 20 seconds. Stir it, put it back in. At least that's the way I do it without exploding it. Though in Europe, I think they have lower thresholds for the microwave, so you can put it in longer, and they cook a lot of eggs for like egg sandwiches and things in the microwave. It's really interesting to see.
Yeah, I thought that was so cool that it was accidentally invented, and this was in like 1949.
Yeah,
It
and
was
they had these
before.
giant machines that were like thousands of dollars, and of course it didn't take off until
Yeah.
much later.
People were actually kind of fearful of the technology at first, but
Yeah.
yeah. But now you see microwaves in most
Well,
houses now.
the microwaves that we have are all nicely shielded so that we aren't exposed to the
Yeah.
radiation. And people were afraid that the radiation would leak.
Yeah.
And in the 40s, makes sense why you'd be scared of radiation.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm still scared of radiation, but I understand when it's controlled.
I mean, you'll have to deal with radiation when you go to Mars.
I know. I know. It'll be interesting. Lots and lots of radiation. I have to
Yeah.
deal with it. So, after microwave ovens, another fun story is the space pen. Now, it was
Yep.
supposed to be developed for NASA. They even put together a proposal, but it got canceled, right?
Yep. They had invested quite a bit of money in trying to develop something like that because people always make that joke about how, like, oh hey, we spent all this money on a space pen when the Russians just used a pencil. Well, we used a pencil in the beginning as well. Um, but after Apollo 1, that fire, we also were much more interested in making everything super, super safe. And that pencil lead,
The
if you break
graphite,
those off, it can actually become very, very dangerous. Not only can it be a fire hazard, but if it gets stuck in any of your switches or
your
buttons or
eyes.
gauges, your eyes, it can cause a lot of problems. So, actually, it was not invented by NASA. It was
Nope.
actually an independent invention by a man named Paul Fisher. And basically, NASA learned about it and they were like, ooh, that would be really awesome. So, after some testing, they actually ended up purchasing a number of those from the now Fisher Company to use on the Apollo program.
Brilliant. So they
Yeah.
invested money in trying to figure it out, couldn't figure it out, and somebody else developed it on the side. And they were like, ooh, give me.
Yeah, pretty much. But everybody always, it's just funny because everybody always just attributes that joke about the Russians using pencils and us spending money on the pen. But there was a pretty good reason for it.
Well, yeah. I mean, the pure oxygen environment of Apollo 1, the fire, I mean, it was
Yeah.
caused by the pure oxygen environment and a tiny spark. Now,
Yep.
the thing is, if Russia and the US had been sharing information about the research they'd been doing, we would have known that a pure oxygen environment would lead to that
Yeah.
because the Russians, um, months earlier, had a person testing living in a contained environment that was basically pure oxygen, and he was nearly burned alive. Like, he lived and
Yeah.
he didn't want to.
Mm-mm.
It was
Yeah, that
pretty
was really
terrifying, but
sad.
not sharing information can cause has caused a lot of that.
Yeah.
So, on to a much more fun note. Velcro. It's everywhere in space. You use
Mhm.
it for everything because it sticks. You stick things to it and you can take them off again. It's great.
Yeah.
When I did my NASA mission, we used Velcro for everything. I actually still have, oh, I should have worn it today. I still have one of my vests from my NASA simulation mission, and it has Velcro strips that I sewed onto it for the purpose of being able to stick various sensors onto my body without and being
Yeah.
able to switch clothes. Um,
So yeah, Velcro is very useful,
yep.
especially when you don't want things all floating away.
Yeah,
But
I
it was.
have Velcro on one of my chopstick cases because I took them with me to my Hera mission, my NASA mission, and
Yeah.
it was very useful because I would just stick them to the wall.
So Velcro was actually a Swiss invention from the earlier
Hmm.
1940s, but we just found it so useful that we then adopted it into the space program. So it wasn't invented by the space program, but
It was
used.
it was early adoption by the space
Yeah.
program, meaning they used it from its inception, basically.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. Alrighty, and our last item for today is Tang.
Tang. Yeah.
So,
Tang.
what is Tang again?
So Tang is like that orange drink mix that you mix it into
Oh, the
water,
powder,
stir it
and you
up.
stir it up.
Yeah.
Tang is the
And then you can
brand of
drink
the
it.
original one, right?
Yep.
Okay.
So it was actually invented by General Foods in 1957, but of course, because we can't bring, lots of stuff up with us, we want to bring more like dehydrated stuff, freeze-dried
Right.
stuff, and then anything that's like powdered that we can bring so that to mix in, because otherwise you're gonna use a lot of weight.
Right.
So,
Taking water up is one of the largest mass amounts that gets taken up.
So NASA actually used stuff that's similar to Tang, the powdered drink mixes, mix them into the water, especially because I've heard actually that astronauts don't tend to actually like the taste of the water that's out there.
Well, it's
And
pure
you know
water.
why? Yeah, because it's like 99 something percent pure. And so it actually kind of
There's
tastes
no
funny.
chemicals in
Yeah.
it. So all of the water in tap water here in the States has chlorine, and it has minerals based on where it comes from in the country, from the rock and earth around it when it gets filtered. Not all
Yeah.
of those minerals that have bonded with it get taken out. So you end
And
up
a lot of those
with,
minerals are actually healthy for us too.
yes, they
They're
are.
like trace elements, trace minerals that we
Right.
need every
We get a
day.
lot of trace elements from our water, but you don't get that in space. It would be like drinking distilled water.
Yeah.
So if you want to know what water tastes like in space, go buy distilled water and try drinking that. Now, the only person I know who buys distilled water to drink when traveling is my mother. She prefers that to having the various tap waters.
Yeah. But
I
yeah,
think the closest I came was when I would filter my water when I lived in Africa, but then I would dump like a bunch of chlorine in it too, so that probably doesn't count.
Because it probably still had a pretty interesting taste.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mine was not as interesting as some others. When you take river water and then you have to treat it and filter it so that you can drink it.
Huh.
I think I'd prefer the stuff from the station.
Yeah. Well, the stuff on the station is actually recycled pee and
Sweat and all sorts of other stuff, but I know how that system works.
Yeah.
And I know that it works, and I know that what I'm getting is just water.
Yep. It's very pure. So.
Very pure.
So yeah.
I was never quite sure when I got the water out of my filtered system.
Yeah. But yeah, now astronauts are able to more than just Tang, right? It's
yes.
They have all sorts of flavored drink mixes that they can use.
There are all sorts of really cool drink mixes. We didn't get all of them when I went into the Hera mission. We did all astronaut food, but because we were still in a gravitational environment, they would just give us canisters of the drink mixes. So I don't know if they're the same ones that they used or not. But I didn't drink many of the drink mixes other than the coffee. Dehydrated coffee. Which was awesome that we got coffee. All right, so that's 5 things that you didn't know came from the space industry and a little bit of history about them and related things because we tend to go off on tangents. All right, so like and subscribe. Thanks.